very much, fellow Jew.
Thank you, Jew.
All right, let me grab my clicker. What's happening? Let me greet in all 11 official languages. So, Dumela, Darse, Locheni, Salbona, Nda, Tobela, Molo, Avusheni, hello. I only said hello 9 times. That's because in 2 of the languages, hello doubles up. So, if you were counting, that's what happened there. My name is Arye Kellman. Arye is Hebrew for the word lion. The reason my parents named me that is because when I came out of my mother's womb, I was making a hell of a racket. It was almost like I was roaring, and so they thought, let's call him Lion, but lion in English would have been, I don't know, so much. So they decided to rather call me Arye, which is the Hebrew word for lion. Like Nick said, I'm the creative director of CliffCentral.com, which is an online radio station and digital content platform, which was started by Gareth Cliff just over 2 years ago. I do an afternoon show between 4 and 6, and at 11 o'clock this morning, I will start a brand new show on a new platform that we've developed called Touch Central. So Thibaut Touch from Metro FM did their afternoon show for many years. He recently left Metro, and him and Gareth have partnered up to launch Touch Central, which, if I'm correct, is probably still trending in South Africa right now. It's an unbelievably exciting venture, and it's an online music content platform. So I'll be doing weekdays between 11 and 1 with a very, very good-looking co-host. That's not the reason I'm here, though. That would be a good reason, but it's not the reason I'm here. The reason I'm here is because I'm Arye Kellman, and... No, back. I am your business traveler of tomorrow. That's me. What's happening? Sell me things. Let's do stuff. The reason I'm your business traveler of tomorrow is because I'm not quite there yet in terms of flying business class and staying in fanciful hotels. Most of my travel budget goes to buying buckets of alcohol in Thailand with loads and loads of Red Bull, which in Thailand actually isn't Red Bull. It's basically just like mega concentrated syrup that probably should have no alcohol added to it whatsoever. All of this, and the fact that I'm young, I'm 26 years old, makes me part of a certain generation. The generation that it makes me part of is the millennial generation. So if you go onto Wikipedia, they'll tell you a millennial is largely defined as a person born between 1983 and 2004. I was born in 1989, so I fit that bill perfectly. Unfortunately, though, this word doesn't seem to have the best rap all the time. In fact, when I say millennial, you're probably thinking selfish, entitled, selfies, overindulged, basically a disaster. What you're really thinking is probably what this next commercial articulates, which is for a book called Quarter Life Poetry, and it paints a rather negative picture of what the future looks like.
Hey, Mom. Hey, yeah. What's a W-9?
What's a PPO? So is a dependent like just a human, or...
What's my social? Mom, you're whispering it. Can you just say it?
Wait, when is Thanksgiving?
You turn my room into what? Do you have my birth certificate?
What do you mean you don't know? What's your cable password?
Hey, Mom, what's up?
Sweetie, I found Mr. Snuggle Bear in the hall closet. Want me to ship him to you?
Mom, Jesus, I'm an adult.
That struggle is so real. I recently had to figure out how to fill out a bond application form. And I actually literally just gave it to my dad. I said, Dad, could you do this for me? He said, but I don't know how much you earn every month. I said, well, just figure it out because this is quite complicated. And they're asking for like all sorts of documentation. I don't even know if I have that. And I'm a living example of that ad. So that's a little problematic, but hey, it's going to be okay. I want to paint a bit of a context though. So I'm going to take you very quickly back to 2007. So this was me in 2007 in matric at King David High School, Victory Park. This was me at my matric dance. That's Eleanor Schlaz. We went to the matric dance together. She now lives in Los Angeles. She's a chartered accountant. She's a rock star. And we still communicate on Skype. What's interesting about these two pictures, though, is that they live online on a little thing called Facebook. So back in 2007, I remember I had a webmail account, and I was on it one day, and I got an email saying, Daniel Katsu has invited you to be his friend. And I was like, I know this guy. He's 2 years below me at school. Like, we are friends. What's going on here? I thought it was spam. I clicked through on the link, and it turned out to be Facebook. And that was the day that I signed up on Facebook. You see, when I think about what it is that makes the millennial generation different to other generations, is that this little thing called the internet, which has completely changed the way we live, has become unbelievably integrated into my narrative. It's a huge part of my teen years, it's a massive part of my early 20s, and it continues to be an even bigger part of my late 20s as I start to approach my 30s. The internet is a game changer, and when it comes to differentiating what it is that makes a millennial different to someone from another generation, you've got to give the internet a hell of a lot of cred. The internet has changed that game completely. I was in matric in 2007. Back in, oh, hang on, here's Bill saying something. Yeah, that's important. The internet is becoming the town square for the global village of tomorrow. Thank you very much, Bill. As I was saying, back in 2007, I matriculated. In 2008, on the 10th of February, a young man posted a video onto YouTube, which was on the internet, and it completely changed his life.
I know I can't be the only one, but there's hearts all over the world tonight with the love of their life to feel what I feel when I'm with you, with you, with you, with you, with you, girl, with you, with you, with you, with you, with you. Oh.
There you go. That's 52 million views, and that's how it all started for Justin Bieber on this little thing called the internet, which has now become a massive part of all of our lives and really has defined a large part of the narrative of a generation and made us, to a large extent, who we are. Social media is massive. If you are a millennial, it is where you live. My life is in my pocket. It is everywhere I go. I don't have a television. If I want to watch series, I do it on my MacBook. Everything is here. And this is what makes this generation different. So the big question is, how do you then communicate with someone who lives on this device? We got Facebook, we got Instagram, we got Twitter, we got Snapchat, and it seems like as each platform comes out, they begin to become more and more ridiculous. So Snapchat I recently cottoned onto, and I love it. I get to do things like this every single day. Yeah. It's amazing. So what's interesting about millennials is that there's already stuff coming out on the generation that precedes that comes after that, which is the Generation Z. And even I've got to put my hands up in the air and say, like, this is ridiculous where we're going. Just a week ago, I discovered a new app called Musical.ly. Now, Musical.ly has hundreds of millions of users all around the world, and they're all under the age of 18. This kid is Casey Simpson. Casey Simpson has 2.9 million followers on Musical.ly. Musical.ly is basically an app where it gives you audio and you make video to accompany that audio. So it'll give you like a new Justin Bieber song, and then you pretend you're Justin Bieber and you make a music video. Or it'll give you a line from a TV show, and then you post that online. So here's Casey Simpson, who's got 2.9 million followers on Musical.ly and is making millions of dollars in endorsements, doing what he does every day.
When there is a cute person on the Twitter, I know what to do. You go to the tweet, you hit favorite, and you know that I want to be with you.
Singing with people in the house. And when I'm alone. OMG, you guys have had way too much caffeine. I gotta cut myself off.
Want a cup of coffee?
Yeah, I do! Take it easy. What the scallop? I'm a banana. I'm a banana. I'm a banana. We ain't got no school. What we gonna do?
I mean, it's borderline traumatizing. And it's even more intense when you go onto the app. If you do one thing today, you've got to download this app Musical.ly and go onto it. It's crazy. It blows my mind. It's like 10-year-old after 10-year-old after 10-year-old literally singing along to songs and taking lines from movies. It's honestly mind-blowing. What's even more hectic about it is that it rates everybody on the platform, literally everywhere in the world. You can tell right now who in South Africa is the most popular user on Musical.ly, and it rates them from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. It's a lot. So I don't want any shtick about being a millennial, because Generation Z is a whole other story. So let's get back to this millennial thing, because social media is really interesting. And it's done a lot to the world. I will be the first to tell you that one of the reasons that I don't so much enjoy being on radio every single day is because a large portion of it feels like a popularity contest. And there's a lot of pressure to consistently get retweets on Twitter, to trend on Twitter, to get likes on Instagram. And the psychology of that is actually quite hectic, as this little video depicts.
Is this it? Is this all there is? Spreadsheets and paperwork? I'm gonna die someday, and I'll be sitting here, just wasting away at this job. And for what? We're just floating through time and space.
Hey, it's pizza day.
It's heavy, it's so sad, it's very emotional, it's very hard to be young in this day and age. What if I don't get 100 likes on that next Instagram post? How can I ever really tell someone if I had a bad day? It's a little overwhelming at times. Comparing in 2016 with the advent of social media and the internet is an epidemic. But it is just that. It's an epidemic. The great thing about life, fundamentally, is that we decide how we use things. Decisions influence who we become, and then we become them. If you decide that you're going to use social media for the good, you'll become someone who uses social media for the good. And this tool does unbelievable things. We see it every single day in South Africa when we log on to Twitter. We see it with what happened at Pretoria Girls High School a couple of days ago. South Africans finally having conversations that we need to be having as a nation to move forward. Because now everybody has a voice. And it's literally just about channeling that in the right way. So yes, there's the side of how many likes are you going to get, don't measure your self-esteem. But there's also this other side of really unbelievably changing the world. You know, the idea of me taking out my phone right now and Skyping someone in America, 40 years ago, that would have been mind-blowing. That would have been crazy. It's unbelievable. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the greatest time to be alive, because in all of your pockets lies the ability to be the next Justin Bieber. That's amazing. You can post your YouTube video and become a star overnight. But I need to bring it back to all of you in this room, because all of you in this room do something truly amazing every single day of your lives. Right now is the greatest time to be alive, and you are in the greatest industry right now. You see, in an age of identity, and in an age of self-exploration, and in an age where we're trying to figure out who we are and what we're about, and how we're going to do what humans fundamentally want to do, which is change the world in a positive way, we need to consistently explore. And every time one of you in this room issues a travel ticket, issues an airplane stub, checks somebody into a hotel room, you're giving them the opportunity to explore. You're taking them out of their comfort zone, and you're allowing them to learn new things about themselves. And that's magical. That's unbelievable. When you get onto a plane and go to a new place, you are growing as a person. Very quickly, I want to speak about one of my favorite brands that we work with at CliffCentral.com, and hopefully soon Touch Central. We'll see how this all pans out. And that brand is Virgin Atlantic. I love Virgin Atlantic because as a brand, it's quirky, it's edgy, it's sophisticated, it's stylish, it's all those things. But as a brand, it genuinely cares about engaging its audience and connecting with millennials all around the world. We did something unbelievably cool with the team over at Virgin Atlantic in the beginning of the year. Darren, sitting over there, is going to raise his hand and show what a rock star he is. Darren was like, yo, Arye, what's happening? We got to do something with the millennials. We got to talk to millennials. We had a meeting, and together we co-created something called One Day, which was a campaign where myself and another influencer went to London for 24 hours to inspire millennials all around the world to get on a plane, to go to a new place, to see new things, to uncover things about themselves. It was really important for Virgin to activate on a stack of different social media platforms, from Facebook to Instagram to Twitter to Snapchat, and also on the CliffCentral.com platform. So what we did was, we asked Virgin Atlantic's audience and CliffCentral's audience to, in real time, tell myself and the other influencer where to go in London. So they would tweet, yo, Arye, TT, you should go and do the open bus tour in London. And we would go and we would do it. all at the same time Skyping live in and out of the CliffCentral platform. So saying, yo, Gareth, we're at Heathrow right now. We just landed at the Virgin Atlantic Revivals Lounge. We're hanging out, so that the audience was a part of the journey. We activated on Facebook by people telling us where to go. We replied on Instagram by saying, look, we're here. People told us on Twitter where to go, and on Snapchat we also connected with our different audiences, all the while Skyping in and out of the CliffCentral platform. We also made a little video about it. So myself, TT, and Darren took our iPhones to London, and in this video you'll see people in real time telling us where to go and us going there. By the way, when brands come and they say, how do we connect with millennials? I literally just show them this video and say, this is how you do it. I think it's very impressive, so take a look.
London beanies, tourist vibes.
Rock me, mama, like a southbound train.
As if this trip could not get better, we are now at the Virgin Atlantic Lounge in Heathrow, and like, I don't know, this is incredible. I could live here.
It's cool, right? So very often we get loads of brands coming into CliffCentral and saying like, we really want to connect with millennial audiences, and like, how do you do it? They're so difficult. And it's actually not. It's really just about doing something that's authentic and real, and coolness will always speak for itself. So that's a great example of a campaign connecting with your future business traveler of tomorrow, because one day I'll be able to afford the upper class. I know earlier I was kind of saying like, oh, you know, this generation, they're selfish, self-entitled. I don't know how to fill out the bond application form. But I kind of want to park that for a second and emphasize once again that this is the greatest time to be alive. I really do believe the fundamental truth of every human being is that they want to make the world a better place. And we have more tools at our disposal now than we've ever had before to do exactly that, to make the world a better place. As a creative director and somebody who loves advertising and lived for every single season of Mad Men, I very often just sit on YouTube and watch adverts. So in this next one, ignore the brand, but take away the message and the power and the awesomeness that is the millennial generation.
We are the new generation of dreamers, influencers, creators, and investors. We dream a blazing past that will one day guide our loved ones. The only impossible journey is the one you never began. We know that we can never change the world trying to be like it. We know the biggest dreams often come from the smallest towns. And when we create, it's fast and for ourselves. We are unafraid of life, only afraid to not live it. When we invest, It's not in stocks or commodities, it's in each other. We aren't some lazy, entitled generation defined by instant gratification and what about me. We are a generation redefining ourselves for ourselves. We are a generation of content devouring, multitasking, on-demand, 25 hours a day, in your face, tidal wave of right here, right now. And we're just getting started. We are the new PacSun.
It's so exciting to be in this space and in this time. And now we're going to land this plane. And I'm going to start over here because I really want to connect with everyone in these last few minutes. And I'm going to walk to that end. And I'm going to be very dramatic and poetic in how I land this whole thing. This is a picture of me and my late grandfather. So his name was George Barron. He was a total rock star. Not literally. He just, that's how I felt about him as a rock star. He inspired so much of who I am and what I'm about. And he really just was a huge influence in my life. And he was the first guy that ever taught me what a trade exchange was. So let me tell you how it worked. He said, in exchange for me teaching you how to ride a bicycle in the backyard after school every day, you teach me how to turn on this computer thing that I've been forced into getting because I want to play solitaire. So how do you do that? So every afternoon for about an hour, he would teach me how to ride a bicycle in his backyard. And eventually we took the training wheels off, and eventually he made me an awesome certificate. And in exchange, I literally showed him, and we wrote notes on turn the computer on over here, hit the start button on Microsoft Windows, go up to programs, go up to games, go into solitaire, click deal. And that was my first interaction with the trade exchange. But what I'm trying to get at, and this is true for every human being on the planet, is that just as the grandparent tries to teach the grandchild, so too the grandchild inevitably teaches the grandparent about life. There is nothing to be intimidated about. We're all here to teach one another how to make the world a better place and how to do things in a better way. So next time you see your kids sitting on Snapchat, maybe you want to get involved. Now you can do two filters. They can be the dog, you can be the Dalmatian. It's amazing. Everybody has something to teach the other person. I'm Arye Kellman, and I'm your business traveler of tomorrow.